let's join him. Let's see how we're getting on. Hello, mate. Yeah, not bad. Just getting the stream sorted now.
Yeah, sound. Alright, my sorted as well.
Good link. Just waiting for everyone to ready up. I don't know if we're waiting for anyone else, are we?
I think we've got a full, there should be a full lobby somewhere.
There's 16 drivers. We've got a couple of people in at the moment. Is Mitch commentating too, or is it just me? I will be joined by Mitch tonight, so looking for a good night of racing. Hopefully, Zandvoort. It's a bit difficult, but I mean there is some good racing. There's potential.
Yeah, there is. I mean, not many overtaking points here, but you got that long DRS straight with a big braking zone to turn one, so
Yeah, exactly.
can see some overtakes there.
Looks like everyone is getting ready up, so I'll have a quick swig of the drink and then we'll get going.
Before we do, how's the TV sound in the background?
I can hear it a little bit, but shouldn't be too bad. Iconic duo. Cheers, mate. Well, nonetheless, hey there everyone, and welcome back to OBF1. We're here again for the F1 guys on a Friday, the best night of the week, let's be honest, here for the Netherlands GP here at the circuit Zandvoort, a very historic circuit when it comes to Formula 1. Not hosted a GP since the late 70s, and it's been definitely a while, but it seems as though despite the Netherlands never hosting a GP in modern Formula 1, Mercedes have still found a way to win here, so hopefully that theme doesn't carry forward today, and we can see a couple of different winners. We need someone to end Max's absolute dominance, it seemed, at China. He just ran away with it, got a little bit unlucky with a couple of late safety cars, and I believe someone else did take the win in the end. I don't know, I can't quite remember who it was, but someone definitely did take the win in the end. But pistol racing as well with some great defending. So China was a great circuit, and we didn't actually expect too great racing from that, so we may still be surprised from Netherlands. A short qualifying session, 18 minutes, and it's got to be crucial. You need to get those laps in, unlike full qualifying where you've got 3 sessions to get it done. Everything you need to get done in short qualifying. You've only got 18 minutes, so it's not the longest of times, but it's better than only having 1 lap and then followed by a 50% race. It's 36 laps, I do believe, and all dry for qualifying. I am joined once again by the great Mitch. So, how are you, and what are your thoughts on today's track?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, it's, as we say, it's a high-speed track. Not many overtaking points, but there's definitely some room for a safety car to come out here, because there's a couple of close barriers and some high-speed corners as well, where a little bit where you light the rear ends up and you're going to find yourself in a wall. So yeah, we could see a couple of mix of strategies here tonight, bearing in mind how many safety cars we have come out. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the race. It should be another good race.
Hopefully so. I mean, they always do deliver, both AlphaTauri's coming out of the pit lane as well. They're going to be looking to go for it. 16 drivers on the grid, definitely a decent sized grid, and you can really get some things going with that. But definitely, as you say, coming out of turn 4, that is probably the most lethal place to do it. We'll go on board with KVDPI. He's going to be the first to go through it. So you can see how cambered this corner is, and you come out and you're still cambered. So the undulation change really, really unsettles the car, and it's a very heavy traction zone. You're coming out of there in maybe second, third, maybe fourth gear if you need that little extra short shift, but it's still a lower gear that you really need to get the throttle pinned on, and it is a very difficult corner to get the car to stick with you as well. I can also say coming through turn what I believe to be turn 10 here where KVDPR is now, that is also a very tricky one. You can almost find yourself sideways coming towards turn 11. But other than that, I mean, I can't really see them messing up too much. Turn 1 is a very nice corner to take. Who's the closest one to setting a lap? It looks to be no, it looks to be a Mercedes. It is Callum Jones. We'll go on board with Callum Jones. Coming through the penultimate corner and then through the massive banking. Setting himself up for a lap here. Flat through the banking, of course, because, well, it's pretty much Daytona-esque. The angle on that is very much, very, very wide. He's got Ratho in his tow. Very strategically placed from the AlphaTauri, but the Mercedes coming down into turn 1. Want to brake just before that 50. Third gear, use the inside as much as you can to help rotate the car. Then through turn 3, just got to chuck it in. Keep it to the left-hand side. No point, bring it over to the right. You unsettle the car a bit too much. Bit sketchy on the throttle from him, and you can see still a bit not too confident with the rear tyres coming off of turn 4 there. Not the best. Up the hill through turn 6 and 7, and then into the long swooping right-hander, and then into turn 8 and then 9. Purple to the first sector because he's the first to set a lap. Coming towards turn 10, just got to aim at that inside curb, and you can see he turns really, really early. An interesting line. Brings it back over to the right hand side for turn 11, just to keep it as close as you can, get as close to that curb as you can with that mountain. It is very, very high curbs here at Zandvoort, and then heading towards the turn 12 and 13 chicane. Just got to brake at the start of the curb, yeet over this curb, you could say, and just absolutely send it through there. Try not to cut, but then towards the penultimate corner again, just got to give yourself a good exit. Don't touch that curb, but very nicely taken from Callum Jones. And then through the bank, and just got to manage to carry as much speed as you can. DRS open, the drag reduction system. Let's see what he can do to open up the lap. A 1:11.5, Ratho goes to second with a 1:11.7. What times do you reckon we could see as KVDPR sends it to a 1:11.2? That is very wide from Callum Jones.
I mean, well, I think we're going to see it's definitely going to get people into the 109s. Maybe if someone does put a good lap together, we could get in the 108s. But, I mean, just on the back of that lap there, Ratho, you said he set himself up nicely, but he actually got himself in some very dirty air and had to slow down at points of that lap. So you'll see the AlphaTauri go again. That's not going to be all the speed that Ratho has there, I'm sure of it.
Definitely not. It didn't look like the most hooked up lap from Callum Jones. Bit twitchy in places, but on the pad is probably not the best circuit for a pad, I'm sure. Pistol Racing putting himself into P2. Already sub at 1:11. Harvard on the brink with a 1:11.0. Jim into the 109. So quick. Huge gaps between these guys. Not something we often see, but Jim really setting the pace there. Marcus, which looked to be a good lap, but Jim with a 109.3. And Max hasn't even set a lap yet. What will we see from him?
Yeah, he's going to be wanting to get himself as close to Jim as possible, isn't he, after the battles that they've been having. Notice as well, Harv's done a 1:11.0 on the medium tyre as well, so he has gone opposite from the other guys that have all put their laps on the soft. So let's see whether he'll come back out again on the soft tyres to maybe get himself towards the front. Because, what is he, 1.7 off there with the mediums? I'm not sure exactly what the delta difference is, but yeah, he can definitely get himself further to the front if he does put the soft tyres on.
Well, definitely not a bad position to be in at the moment. P4 with the mediums. Would that be a better strategy though? I've not been too experienced with 50% races around Zandvoort, but is the iconic maybe softer hard strategy probably the way to go? I mean, the mediums are good, but do they give you the versatility? I mean, if there's an early safety car, what option do you really have? Because you can't go mediums for a quick stint, because then you'll definitely have to pit again. But Max setting up a lap then on his older tyres, coming towards turn 1. Nice early apex, switch it back round for a second apex. Very nicely taken. Coming towards turn 3, just got to chuck it in. Short shift to 6, keep it to the left hand side once again. Bit of a lock up again, we're going to see a lot of that, a lot of lock ups into turn 4. But it looks as though Max is just trying to get a banker lap in to try and find his feet and improve upon. Still 12 minutes left to go, and he's, I'm sure this is not his true pace of a 1:26.0.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have more in the bank from that 1:26.0. So he's got a couple of laps of fuel left in the car as well, so this will probably be the last lap that we'll see him set on these tyres. So I'm just wondering, Kimmy's done a 109.4 as well, so under a tenth difference between Jim. So Max is going to want to get himself amongst that, I'm sure.
Definitely. I mean, he's not one to be squandering around in quali. Goes purple to the middle sector. Don't know quite how accurate that is, but mounts the curb through turn 13 there. Not something you often want to do, but maybe it's quicker for him to help hook the car around through the penultimate corner then. Again, just need to set up the great exit speed to carry it all the way through the banking into the DRS zone. What is it we going to see from Max? Needs a low 109 to be competitive. That's exactly what he brings to the table. A 109.196. Exactly 0.2 quicker than Jim in second place, but very close between the top three.
Yeah, it is, and that wasn't on the freshest of tyres as well. As we see, he did put a lap in before that as well, so we could definitely see him creep into the 108s for sure.
Definitely would be a good sight to see. I mean, a 108, very, very quick. I can't say I'm the quickest around Zandvoort, but be pretty impressive from Max to put it into the 108s. And as you say, not on the freshest of tyres. These are still pretty worn, so he's going to want to get another lap in, because if you do start within the top 10, you have to start on the tyres you start. You put your fast lap in quali on. Doesn't matter if you've done 50 laps in quali. Not that that's too possible, but in an alternate scenario, if you've done 50 laps in quali, if they're the tyres you set your fast lap on, tough luck. You've got to start the race on those tyres. So he's got the 3-lap old tyres at the moment. We'll be starting the race on them, but I'm sure he's going to come in soon. Halfway through-ish the qualifying session, and Jim, you can see already wanting to get responding to that lap. He's wanting to improve. He's very eager to improve.
Yeah, he will. He'll see in that time, and he'll get himself back out on the track. He's probably going to have this lap on a fresh set, and he'll be able to box and come back out on one more. So he's got 2 attempts to put together the perfect lap to get himself in front of Max. But I mean, starting second is probably not the worst here. It's not the longest run into the first corner. It's all about who's gonna break first as to who's going to take the first position on that first corner. So as we see Jim come out of the final bank there, foot flew to the deck. DRS wide open. He's going to brake as late as possible into turn 1. He brakes just before the 50. He's not hit the apex, but it doesn't matter around there. He's kept the traction through the rears. Touches both curves as he comes in. How's he going to have it through here? Nice and tight. A little bit slow through that corner. Maybe the Ferrari on the outside put him off a little bit as he floors it coming up through 5 and 6. Right through 7. Drops the gear through 8. Keeps the rear wheels nicely and firmly on the track. Hard brake. He's missed the apex there, but he's come out. He's not gone purple through the first, so he's going to need to find a little bit more time throughout this lap at the moment. He's not quite hit the apex that he's needed to at the moment. He's gone purple through the middle sector, so maybe that's the middle sector that he did need. So as he comes through the last sector now, second to last corner. As you say, he's going to keep all 4 tyres nice and firmly planted on the road. Open the last corner up as much as possible. Flat out, DRS open. Towards the line. And he has. He's put himself in front by just under 1/10 of a second. So it's very close between those two. Lovely lap from Jim.
It is heating up to be something special. Max into the pit lane, going to be strapping on a fresh set of tyres. Harv back out on the same set of medium tyres, and the clouds are dooming and glooming over the Zandvoort circuit. Could we see a bit of rain maybe towards the later stages of the session? I mean, most of the grid has already set a lap, but I mean, it's crucial that you get out and set those laps just in case. Does not help to be stranded, and in Harv's case, if it starts dripping now, he is going to be buggered on those worn medium tyres. It's definitely a big risk if the rain does come. When is everyone going to set their lap? We've got Kimmy now on a different lap. He goes purple to the first sector, just behind Jim in front. I believe that was purple to the middle sector as well. He's got DRS open down towards the chicane once again, and towards the chicane into sector 3, a 10th and a bit up on his time. That's going to put him well into the 2s. Just needs to find a little bit through the last couple of corners, give it a bit more, brake just after the 50, really got to chuck it in and be confident on the power. Bit wide there, very easy to do and invalidate there.
Yeah, it was a nice lap. I don't think it would have put him in front of either of the 2 in front of him. It would have to be a very special final sector. But as you say, he's tried too much, he's broke a little bit too late, and he's just run wide on the exit. So I'm sure we'll see him back out again on another set of softs.
Fingers crossed. I mean, he's definitely not going to be one to squander about. Max already back on his out lap, looking to get those tyres scrubbed in. He didn't set his lap on the freshest set, so it'd be interesting to see what delta difference the tyre wear gives him. I mean, we could see him into the low 108s. Remember, Jim's time was his second set time. Max's was his first, so this is going to be a constant tiptoe. I'm going to beat you. No, I'm going to beat you. Constant battle between the tyre sets. But Max on his second run now, just warming his tyres up and looking to improve. Everyone else sort of just sticking in. The AlphaTauri is looking good in 9th and 10th, just on that midfield bubble, that side of space, jumping into the top 4. A Ferrari second row, very nice lap from him, well into the 109s, a 109.7, very nice. And the top 5, interestingly, the only ones to get sub 109. But here comes Max then onto his lap.
Yeah, we see him nice and hard into the first corner, and he's carried some nice speed through there. Early gear change to keep the traction on the rear tyres as he comes through the second and third turn. Late on the brakes into the fourth, and a lock up again, as you say there, and he's had the Ferrari. Is that side of space that he's gone through there? Same as Jim had, so it's exactly the same scenario for both of them as he comes through 6 and 7. As we see a car, was that an Alfa Romeo, I think, there was sat in the gravel.
800ths up.
He's going to need to find a little bit more time. Squeeze as much as he can out of this Haas. He's coming towards the end of the second sector now. He's gone purple, and he's just over a 10th and a half up, so this will see him nearly, if he can improve a little bit more, get himself into the 108s and put himself in provisional pole.
Could be pretty good. I mean, it's been hooked up so far. Really, really tidy. The fresh set really coming in clutch for him. Tight as you like through the banking and nearly scraping the wall on the exit. Hasn't been helped through turn 4, unlike the Ferrari, but across the line, a 108.8 smashes into the barrier. 3/10 overall through the lap, and must have gained quite a lot through that final couple of corners there. I mean, probably isn't the easiest thing to do. Maybe he messed it up a little bit, but a 108.8 very quick, and Jim is going to be wanting to get out and improve upon that. 5 minutes left, so he's running out of time and probably running out of sets of tyres to use as well.
Yeah, I mean, we might not know everything with regards to the weather forecast for the race. These guys could know that it's a wet race already. They get that information when they are in qualifying, so they could go out and use all of their softs up if they know that they're not going to need them in the race. So Jim is still sitting in the pits at the moment, but I'm sure we will see him come out again before the end of the session and try and pip himself onto the first place ahead of Max. But as it stands at the moment, Max has got the bragging rights.
Yeah. And that is Jim now wheel spinning out of the pit lane. He wants to respond. This is going to be hopefully, or well, probably his final run. He didn't do a banker on the mediums, unlike Harv did, who's now on the softs, I believe. Puts himself P5, a 109.8, very decent bank time, 1.1 seconds up on his medium lap. So very nicely done from Harv to get himself into the top 5. Now the top 6 with the sub 109, and that is Kimi into the 108s as well, a 108.9. He's sort of been quiet in the back, but good lap.
Yeah, so close. It'll be gutted he hasn't managed to put himself just in front of Max, but look at these three drivers with their time so close. It's going to be a good battle on track. As I said, there's not many overtaking spots here, so we're going to see them sort of weaving around the track, hopefully not bumping into each other and putting on a good display for us.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, it's always been Kimi that's just fallen behind Max in qualifying. We've seen that last week at China before something happened. I believe he got disqualified or something of the sort. I believe that's happened during the season. But Kimi definitely been there in second place all the time. Really consistent driver. And again with Jim, he's always been up there. A couple of tenths separate the top 3. Not something you often see, but it's very close. Here comes Jim then. His final run. 3 minutes left of the session, so he needs to make sure he hooks this one up. He's not going to have many tyres left. Down towards turn 1. Early apex. Carry the momentum through. Can really chuck it in there through turn 1 and then chuck it through turn 3. Keep it left for turn 4 again. Manages to trail brake very nicely. Keeps it in third gear. Short shifts to the fourth and keeps it very tidy. Keeps it tight to the right hand side to fling it up the hill and miss the curbs. Just want to make it as short as distance as you can coming towards what I believe to be turn 8. Again, just nearly flat in, little bit of a downshift to make sure the car stays there. 3/10 to the first sector alone. Jim is on an absolute flyer with this one. Purple to the first sector, coming through turn 10 into turn 11. Just needs to make sure to keep the rest of the lap hooked up. Looked very tidy through turn 11. Drag reduction system enabled once again. 2 people have retired, coming towards the turn 12 and 13 chicane, braking at the start of the curve. Found an extra 10th, 4.5 tenths up. This is an absolutely incredible lap from the Renault, coming towards the penultimate corner. Just got to chuck it in 5th gear. Really need to be careful not to invalidate. It looks as though he's going to keep it hooked up tight as you like through the banking, trying to gain every little bit he can. Shortest run to the line, keeping it to the right hand side. What is it going to be? A 1:08.6.
What a lap. What a lap from Jim. He's going to be very happy with that one, as Max is just about to start his lap as well. So we're going to see, maybe the track's just speeding up as we go through qualifying, but it's a great battle we've got. We're not even in the race yet.
Yeah, qualifying definitely being a more of a spectacle here at Zandvoort. Hopefully it transfers to the race. Couple attempts between the top 2 as it stands, but Max needs to get this done. Kimi as well on his outlap. Big lock up from Max. That is definitely not going to help, but he's managed to carry the minimum speed. 2 very different lines from the top 2 through turn 4, but both seem to work just as well. We'll see what he can do into sector 1. Again, just got to carry the speed. 8th gear, unlike Jim. Jim likes to rev the car out and use every bit of the gear he can. What is he going to do? A 10th up to the first sector. He just needs to find that little bit extra in the last couple of corners.
Yeah, it wasn't quite purple. We got Kimi. Kimi gets himself out of the way nicely there. So Max has looped round through the second sector onto the DRS straight. He's got it wide open, foot to the floor. Get the car to the left and brake late into the final chicane area on the track. Bumps across the curb. Touches the inside curb. As you say, he's done that on every of his lap now. Touch that inside curb. Wide into this penultimate corner. Keeps it on the track, close to invalidating there. He's put his foot right to the floor. Pushes out to the wall, uses as much of the track as possible. And what time are we going to see?
Oh.
He hasn't gone. He hasn't beaten Jim. So it's now all up to Kimi to try and take pole position away from Jim.
Yeah, all down to Kimi. The pressure's on the Ferrari coming towards turn 1. The last lap, the checker flag will be waved in 30 seconds time. Jim's an AI just in front. Hopefully doesn't compromise him. Jim just moving out the way. That might compromise him a bit. He's going to fling it over, clip the curb a little bit. That's definitely hurt him through turns 3 and 4. Luckily, he might just be able to get away with it. Callum doing the right job there, moving well out of the way of the Ferrari, who's on a charge for pole position, or at least the second row. About a 10th and a bit off the second row. Needs to find that little bit more of improvement, but Max just couldn't quite get it. Plus 0.001 to the first sector. It's not all over yet. He's still got 2 more to do it. Through turn 10, use the camber, run it out to the left hand side, bring it back to the right. A couple of people now footer in through the lap. Side of space goes 4th with Kieran rounding off the top 5. Half still on the lap as well, but we're on board with Kimi in the Ferrari, looking to take pole away from Jimmy. He's a 10th and a bit up into the middle sector now. A couple of corners left to go. Just got to hook it up, hook the chicane right. He's done that very, very nicely. Bring it over to the left hand side. He might pick up a bit of toe from the Haas in front if he's lucky, but it's probably a bit far-fetched. Every little helps, though, as they would say in Tesco. Keep it to the right-hand side. Into the pits goes the Haas. Across the line. Is it going to be pole for Kimi? No! So close.
Wow. So Max was our early front runner. He's now going to find himself on the second row of the grid. I mean, those 3 have had a great battle here. Every lap they've put in, they've changed positions. So, I mean, I think Kim would be happy to put himself on the front row, but to be that close from pole, you'd be gutted, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, it's more of a case of should have, could have, would have, but second place, definitely not bad from Kimi. Very consistent qualifying results, and that is what you need to be. You need to put it there every single qualifying session. That's exactly what he done, but as you say, a great battle between the top 3 in qualifying. Everyone else a little bit more spread out. Kieran and Marcus a little bit close, as well as Pistol and Callum. They're also very close, but Callum on the mediums. I'm not too sure if that's on his best lap. It was on his best lap. He set his best lap on those medium tyres, so he's going to be inside the top 10 starting on the mediums. The only one to actually go for that alternate strategy. Will it work for him?
Maybe he's given himself a chance to score some decent points with the alternative strategy. The only thing that could affect him is if we do see the early safety car. But again, that's a maybe. It's never a given if a safety car is going to come out. So So yeah, good luck to him with the opposite strategy.
Definitely so. So Jim takes pole 28 hundredths of a second clear of the man who'll be joining him on the front row. Kimi in the Ferrari again in second. Max, the usual pole sitter, finally dethroned, a 10th off pole in P3. Side of space P4. Harv P5. Kieran in P6. Marcus in P7. Pistol in P8. Callum on the alternate strategy in P9 with Pressing Mixer rounding off the top 10. The two AlphaTauris in 11th and 12th. Ratho and KVDPR looking to improve. Callum Jones P13. Chris in 14th and Golden Wolf 15th. Arg 16th. Jim in 17th. The only one not to set a time, so maybe a qualifying ban or something of the sort preventing him from setting a lap, but a very, very close qualifying session and a race with a lot of potential.
Yeah, I'm excited for this race. Hopefully, we can see a clean battle between these guys. I mean, we did have some contact in the race the other day between Jim and I think it was H Taylor. They came together on the first corner when we were looking forward to having a battle between those. So let's just hope they can keep it clean, get through the first corner, and then we'll see a straight out battle between the three of them from start to finish, hopefully.
Fingers crossed. 36 laps ahead of us. Formation lap, of course, so technically 37 laps ahead of us here at Zandvoort. A very, very incredible circuit. One that is amazing to watch in qualifying. The gravel is so close. Every mistake counts, but you have to give it full commitment. Very similar to Monaco in the sense that qualifying is very, very thrilling to watch, and they definitely did put on a good show. Very overcast and doom and gloom over the skies of Zandvoort, though. Could we see some rain? Is that why Callum has gone for those medium tyres?
That could be why. It would definitely change things around a little bit if we do see some rain, especially if it comes towards the later stages of the race and the guys have pitted and he's still out on his mediums, because that could put him sort of 20-25 seconds up the road from everybody. So we'll see how it plays out, but it definitely isn't looking like the brightest of days as they start the formation lap.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely less than ideal. Colder track temps though, which is what you like to see. Keeps the engine cool, keeps the brake stall, keeps the tyres easier to manage. Being in colder conditions is better than having it about 40 degrees track temp, similar to in Austria 2019 where they saw the Mercedes really struggle. But predicted pit stop strategy then, soft to hard or soft medium. F1 Insights powered by AWS. Soft, medium, hard, of course the soft being the fastest but the quickest to degrade. The medium again being a nice medium, and then a hard the slowest but will go the distance and is a very reliable tyre. So everyone on the tyres, who outside of the top 10 has gone for the alternate strategy then? So you've got Arg, Jim and Chris all going for different tyres, but Callum already disqualified. Those mediums then are going to be freezing.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's happened there, but I mean, it's not a very long lap here, but the guys at the front, they're going to be going as slow as possible and get as much heat as they can into these tyres by getting the weaving in, because they know how close it is between the three of them, so they're not going to rush around. They're going to get all the temperature they can into the tyres. So Callum, yeah, unfortunately, is going to be sitting on the start-finish line for a while waiting for these guys to come round.
Yeah, very strange as to what's happened there. It's similar. You usually see one person get disqualified and then followed by another one where they've obviously made contact and both have been disqualified. But you can see Jim weaving around, using all the track and really backing everyone up, keeping it around about the 70 to 80 miles an hour mark. Really backing everyone up. Does not want to shoot off and have his tyres cooled down. And Kimi looking very eager to get going with this race. Max as well. We've seen very consistent with the race, and let's see what he can do.
Yeah, they're all letting each other know that they're there. The wing mirrors are full at the moment. I've seen Max nearly coming to the back of Kimi a couple of times. Kimi the same with Jim, and Jim slowed him right down to 45 mile an hour, and just getting that last little bit of temperature into the tyres before they come round onto the straight and line up for the start of the race.
Yeah, well, not long now. It looks like the adrenaline's really going to be pumping if it wasn't already from qualifying. Chris really backing himself up. The distance to the car in front you have to keep is 10 car lengths. He is within that, but just really making sure he has the best tyres, and going to be a massive headache for the likes of Jim. We're going to give Callum a little wave as we roll past. He's gone and made his cup of tea, and the time is taken for them to roll past. But now the leaders lining up on the grid. Jim from Kimi, from Max. Side of space could also get involved in the mix. Again, the Ferrari split in second and fourth. Very consistent results from side of space as well. Harb we've seen very consistent in the race, and Pistol, will we see some defensive masterclass? Should be a little bit easier for him around at Zandvoort, but we get ready to go to 5 red lights. The green flag has been waved, and we're getting ready to go ahead of 36 lights of Zandvoort. Waiting for the lights to illuminate your screen. Hopefully they will very soon. Fingers crossed we can get going and they're not sat here too long.
Just while we're waiting, I've just also realised this is Jim's first race in our Friday Night League. So the championship battle was between Kimi and Max, and Jim's thrown himself straight to the front of the grid and let these two guys know that he's not here to mess around.
Definitely so. It's going to be a great debut if he can get it going to 5 red lights. Then here at Zandvoort, we're underway in race, and it's a pretty good start from pole position for Jim. But is that Kimi already alongside? No, he's been swamped by Max, who's on the outside. Is the Haas going to go for it around the outside? Kimi breaks as late as he can. Everyone as well trying to file their way through. We've had a timing glitch as well. There's a bit of carnage at the back. Something's happened. It looks like Kieran is plummeting down the order, as well as Pistol maybe. But into turn 4, then we all go. The Racing Point very, very wide. That's Harv up into what I believe to be 4th place. A great start then, and everyone just trying to single file their way through, but position as it is at the moment at the top.
Yeah, we have got the timing glitch because I just saw Callum come up into 4th position. I thought he'd had an incredible start on the cold mediums, but it doesn't look like he's running towards the back, as it looks like it's going to start sorting itself out. Yeah, he's found himself in 15th position. Still the lead runner of the medium tyres, but it's not the start that he'd have wanted at all.
Definitely not. Everyone at the front staying station for the moment. Didn't really get the best of start. A very short run towards turn 1, unlike the likes of Catalonia, but everyone just needing to get their way done. A bit of a clip on the grass for the Racing Point there, but it's very crucial they stay within the DRS range there, and you can see Max pushing to stay with him, because at this stage in the race he doesn't look too quick compared to the guys in front. And a great debut from Jim to hold pole position down towards turn 1. Anything happening towards the tail end of the grid, maybe around the 9th or 10th mark. We've got Present Mixer on the back of Ratho, but I'm not too convinced we'll see much happening until we get DRS enabled. Present Mixer is in the DRS of Ratho. We're on to lap 2, so DRS being enabled is a complete and utter lie from the F1 graphics there. As that Chris getting himself up the inside of Golden Wolf, who's going to leave him to drive around the outside. Bit of a clip on the gravel though. They're going to run 2 by 2 into turn 3 and 4. He's been rammed wide, and he's going to come nearly into the McLaren. Oh, that was ever so close. Luckily, Ghosting coming in clutch for them there. Very, very easy to do though. Just run that little bit too wide as well. Callum looking to get past his teammate. 1 on the mediums, 1 on the hard. Should be pretty easy pickings for him, but as is the case at Zandvoort, it isn't usually like that, and Golden Wolf only just managing to get himself going, so probably not the most ideal start for him either.
Yeah, it's not the ideal start for that, as we've seen a breakaway start to happen at the front now. We've got Kimi, Max, obviously both behind Jim at the moment. They're both staying within a second. There's just over a 1 second gap to Harv now in the Racing Point. So these 3 guys, it looks like the battle is beginning. Max is getting really close to the back of Kimi now. We are coming out the final corner now, so DRS is going to be wide open, is it? Are we on lap 3?
Now we are.
Well, now we are, yeah. Okay, so he's going to have it this time round, but yeah, my graphics are messed up as Max does go fastest with 1:12.0. So he's going to look to try and get some moves made soon, as Jim is leading them around the track at the moment, but I'm sure we'll see some closer battling going on now that we've got the DRS wide open for him.
Yeah, certainly does help. You can see how much Max has caned through his energy recovery system just to stay with him. Should be a little bit more comfortable for him now. He's got the DRS to help with that, but it isn't too prevalent. Yellow flag, she set the 1. That is KVDPR off, coming off of turn 4. Probably the spin I've mentioned. Yeah, it is. He's just got on the power a little bit too early, it seems, and a spin, but should be able to keep going. No damage to the race, to the AlphaTauri, I should say. Fingers crossed. 2 DRS zones, and they're going to have it down towards here, and you can see Max eager to get himself going, just needs to build up that bit of momentum. Be interesting to see when these guys will pit. Will Max go for the proactive strategy? He's not in the best position in being in 3rd place, but probably in a better position than Kimi, because Kimi's looking in his mirrors and he's looking to attack. But Max, again, isn't going to be able to get past Kimi, because Kimi's got the saving grace of having Jim, so he's going to have to cane through a lot of ERS to get through. But it looks as though it's just going to be a DRS train. Side of space, lost the position to Harv off the start. He's going to have DRS to try and get back at him. Is he going to use overtake? No, he's not. He's got the closing speed. That's the Mercedes looking as well. The Racing Point looks to the inside, comes back, sort of scared the Ferrari almost, and the Mercedes covering him off, but the Racing Point goes in a bit deep, manages to cover the good exit from the Ferrari with a good exit of his own, and they're all just trying to file their way through. It looks as though stuff is happening in the midfield as well. Jim Strav getting through. Callum Jones doesn't really know where to go with all of this, so it's really just don't make a mistake. You should be fine. Callum going to send it around the outside of Callum Jones there. The Williams on the outside of Mercedes. Very, very nice. Uses the camber to keep the foot in. Uses his medium tyres as well to his full advantage, which will obviously degrade very much slower than the softs, but a very nice move from the Williams.
Yeah, it was. He managed to get himself past his teammate fairly quickly on the medium tyres, as opposed to the hard tyres of Chris. Just as you said that as well, Callum in the Mercedes also ran very wide. He's now found himself He dropped a few seconds off the back, so it's not the greatest of start for Callum at the moment. Callum, KVDPR, and it looks like Golden Wolf's actually come into the pits as well and put on a fresh set of tyres. So he's our first stopper. I'm sure that wasn't his strategy, but he's got some fresh tyres on and some clean tracks. So let's see if he can put some times in now and get himself back up the order when the stops happen.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Side of space on the back of Harv, going to send it to turn 1, ever so close. Harv just giving him the room, but around the outside is going to go short Marcus. Brilliant opportunistic move. Going to be the outside for turn 4, but he's going to make it stick around the outside, and side of space being completely mugged there. Turn offense into defense and couldn't quite defend from short Marcus, who wanted to get through there. Side of space just dummy into the inside, had to slam on the brakes a little bit too much, and short Marcus was just like, well, I'm going this way round. Lucky for him, no contact made, and side of space luckily didn't go into the side of Half there, who's made himself up a position, and short Marcus up 2 as well. Jim Strav up 6, a great start from the McLaren, although albeit a little bit wide a couple of minutes ago. Still a very good start into the top 10 and a bit of points, bit of contact with the Mercedes on the racing point though. This is shaping up to be a pretty good battle for 4th place.
Yeah, there's a few close battles at the moment. I mean, that move from Marcus was a really great move. He saw the battle happening in front of him, and I'm guessing he's just visualised himself around the outside. He's seen what was going to happen before it actually happened, and he's executed it brilliantly. So, great move to get himself up into 5th. With regards to the front 3, I think their times are that close, and the DRS zone's not being that long. We're not seeing the action that we thought we would, and they're following each other around the track, and there's no overtakes happening. So this could come down to a battle of strategy, or if anyone makes a mistake.
Yeah, that is usually the case. Kimi has closed on Jim a little bit, and Max was closing on Kimi, but you can see the difference. Kimi has actually managed to save a lot more energy recovery system, so probably, again, just trying to siege it out, play the long game. Kimi's actually managed to stay with the front lot. Of course, in China, he got wiped out at turn 1. Definitely not the most ideal start, but they are just sort of sticking with each other. Max very close to the rear bumper of the Ferrari there, sending it a little bit too deep, but as you say, probably going to be a long-term game. It's just going to be who's going to blink first when it comes to strategy and who's going to get it right. For Kimi's sake, he better hope the Ferrari mechanics are on it, but Max looking very eager to get through, sending him a little bit wide. Kimi a little bit wide coming through turn 13 and into 14. Max is going to send it around the outside into the penultimate corner. This battling is going to help Jim get away. He's just going to have the DRS zone, and they're still going to be fighting side by side down the pit straight. Is Kimi going to get this back? Yes, he is. Max going to have to tuck in. This fighting is helping Jim. He's going to be licking his lips, looking to get the gap away so he can save a bit of ERS, but Kimi just about going to hang on to that and hang on to the DRS, but Max looking very opportunistic to just send that around the outside.
Yeah, I think we're on the 7th lap now. There was no moves made between the 3 of them. They were just following each other around, and it was almost like Max started to get a little bit impatient and wanted to try and get the move done early. He got himself past, but it didn't leave him a lovely run down the start finish line, and that's allowed Kimi to get straight back past, and we're as we were.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least there was a blink of hope. Side of space getting back past Harv. He's going to fight him back. Bit of contact towards turn 9. He's going to leave him the space, but Harv more fighting a losing battle there, and that is going to be sided back up into the top 5 and chasing after short Marcus, who's had an incredible bit of pace, and it looks as though Harv is just holding up. Pistol straight to the inside of turn 11. Did not blink twice with that one. Going to run side by side. Look to the dummy in towards turn 12 and 13. Bit of a lock up from short Marcus, but the Haas looking very eager to get through. He's on the offensive as opposed to the defensive this time.
Yes, it's strange to see. Pete's making the offensive moves and not defending. So let's see if he can manage to make a move stick. I'll be happy for him, because we do see him defending a lot, and if he can start pushing himself forward through the field, it'd be great. Well, as Harv dives into the pit, so he's not got to make it legitimately, but he'll take that. And let's see what tyres Harv's going to go for. Kimi's come into the pits early as well, and he's put the hard tyres on. So Kimi's looking for the one-stop strategy. Let's see what the other 2 guys at the front do. I think what he's done is he's realised that Jim's got himself out of the 1 second zone, so there was no DRS for him. So he's gone for the undercut, see if it does help him get him back into the reckoning.
Yeah, well, Pistol isn't completely out of the blue yet. He's got Kieran on the back of him, but Kimi, as you say, going for that one-stop strategy. Track position has been proven to be so crucial around here. It's so tricky to overtake unless your name is Max and just going to send it around the outside. But yeah, it's proven to be very difficult. You need a big place advantage over the guy in front of you. So he's blinked first. He's got the risk. He's come 1.6 seconds behind Kieran and Pistol. Just needs to push and get his head down now. Try to stay within some clear air and get these hards turned on pretty quickly. Max into the DRS of Jim as well. They're going to stay out an extra lap, really going to stretch these soft tyres thin.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna struggle to get those tyres warmed up. As you see, Kieran in front of him with the soft tyres. He's going to have the heat in there. Obviously, they're going to be degrading right now, but it's not going to be easy for Kimi to make that 1.3 seconds up and get past. We see Max lock up into turn 4. But yeah, these two guys stretching these softs out. Maybe it could be to do with the weather, but it does look like it has brightened up a little bit. So I don't think we're going to see any rain.
No, it doesn't look like as it is. There's yellow flash through sector 3. Who's that off? Is it Harv is retired from the session? What's happened there? We'll go on board with KVDPR as he rounds it. There's a VSC. This may be the perfect time for Jim and Max to pit if they're close enough. But Cyberspace as well, getting himself past Short Marcus. Not too sure what's happened there. He's going to send it back up the inside. There's contact between the two, and Short Marcus has been spun off. Maybe wasn't happy with the overtake that Cyberspace made. Wanted to get back up the inside, but the contact, and I'm sure the Shield's going to be having another look at that one. But Harv out of the race then, just after his pit stop. What could have happened there? I'm not too entirely sure.
No, I don't know what happened there at all. I mean, it looked like it happened just before the pit lane. So whether he's come out of the final bank corner and lit up the rears, there wasn't enough heat in him maybe, and he's just put it straight to the wall. But yeah, only Harv knows, I think, what's happened there.
Yeah, very, very strange. The two leaders coming into the pits, making the most of this VSC. Of course, everyone having to adhere to a 40% race speed delta. They haven't timed it to perfection, but it will still be a quicker stop than usual. And Max is going to lose out from this as well. He was quite far back on Jim coming into the pit lane, and Sider also going to take this opportunity to come in. Has this harmed Kimi? I mean, it's going to help him a little bit. Here's Kimi on the outside of turn 1. They're both going to make the move, and Kimi has lost out big time to this, so nearly 2 seconds, and Max has lost 2 seconds to Jim as well. Really did not pay off for him at all, but Jim really in a good position now.
Yeah, it's worked out perfectly for Jim. I mean, I'm not sure how he's managed to pull so far ahead of Max. Maybe it was a slow stop from the Haas, or Max was just being very cautious on the delta for the VSC. But yeah, Jim's got a 2-second gap out in front, so he can save his ERS. I'm sure Max is going to be burning through his to try and catch him up, and then he'll have a full tank there to defend when needed. So yeah, great place for Jim at the moment.
Really is a great debut for a Friday as well. If he can come in, take pole and take the win. Not too entirely sure who's got the fastest lap. I can have a look. It is Max with his aggressive, but it's very close between the two. Only a tenth of a second between the fastest laps, but Max, yeah, really going to be pushing now. Closed up by a couple of tenths, as that is now Chris up past Ratho into turn 12 and 13. Very nicely done. I should probably get the interval up back up. There we go. But yeah, Kieran still on the back of Pistol and Kimi, now finally closing up, so it looks as though the undercut not too effective. Here comes Kieran then on Pistol, who's once again having to defend, going to send it around the outside, but going to be barged out the way from Kieran, who's just going to take the racing line away from him, and that is Pistol. Well, he's made quick work of him there, not something we often see.
Yeah, I mean, that looked like there's a big DRS advantage there. Maybe the McLaren's running a little bit less wings than Pistol, because he flew past him on the straight, and then it was a little bit naughty on the brakes. He didn't keep the car exactly on the racing line, but no damage to either driver, and it looks like Pistol's come off.
Just managed to save that one though, only down to 6th, but that's going to allow Jim Strav up into the top 5. Very well saved from Pistol. But yeah, Kieran just did what he needed to do. Just broke late in the corner. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we've seen with Pistol there is the soft tyres coming right to the end of their life. He's run him into the ground. You might even see him come out on the medium tyre and try and stretch those, but I can't see the medium tyre doing 26 laps. Yeah. If these soft tyres are struggling after 10 laps. So we've had KDVPR retire from the session as well.
Isn't a fast part of the circuit. VSC again.
Another VSC.
Oh, the McLaren diving in very late there. It was Jim Strav and Kieran both diving in. Really decided late, but everyone having to adhere to 40% race speed delta once again. So perfect time for these soft runners to pit. That could put them in a very good position. And Pistol's mistake might not be as prevalent now, as he's going to pull in for the hard tyres. So not confident enough to stretch the mediums, but very nice stop from the Haas as well. Going to bring him out right behind the two McLarens. Just needs a good restart.
Yeah, so all the shuffling around with the pit stops now. We've got our 1, 2, 3 back in place, but it does look like Kimi's 6 seconds down the road, so he really has lost out under that first VSC.
Yeah, it really has. I mean, he just couldn't get those tyres warmed up as quickly as he could. Max gained a little bit of time. Just needs to be less cautious now. Drive-through penalty for Golden Wolf for speeding under the VSC. Max with a great restart. Now nearly within 1 second. Just needs to get the hook in. Needs to get the tow hook latched onto the back of Jim and get that DRS. And that should really help him get the foothold to try and get the offensive. But Kimi, 4 seconds back now, he has really lost out, as you said. Where has everyone else come out? Pistol on the back of Jim Strav, so he's lost out a little bit. Kieran now under pressure from Cyberspace. He's gone onto fresh soft, so going for the two-stop. Down the inside goes Cider on the Ferrari. In the Ferrari, I should say. Goes a bit deep under the brakes. Just about managed to keep it on the track, and then McLaren isn't quite going to respond to that one. So those soft tyres, going to be interesting to see where this puts him. He needs to be quick. He needs to make the most of these soft tyres, this Kieran. Cider, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, Kieran is a wise move, probably not trying to battle that back too hard, because they're running different races at the moment. It's no point in either of them wasting too much time. Just tuck him behind, get the DRS up the straight, thank him for the extra tenth or two that you're getting up that straight, and then get your head back down and crack on. And they'll probably meet later on in the race after Cider does pit again.
Yeah, well, I mean, very, very good race off from Kieran. Just thought, well, you can have it. You're going to be quicker. No point fighting it. Very, very nicely done. Yellow flags again through Sector 3. Not too quite sure what's gone on there. Should be all cleared up as well. But Ratho still on those first set of softs.
Yeah, he really has stretched them out quite some bit, hasn't he? I mean, I would have thought we're going to see him come into the pit soon, because he can have the most amount of grip on the back of there. He's got a lot of ERS as well, so maybe he has just been taking it very, very carefully on the softs. He's going to try and stretch out the soft-medium strategy, but that'll be interesting to see. Maybe he's giving himself a very conservative setup as well, that just nurses the tyres round for the speed towards the end.
I mean, he still doesn't look too slow. Keeping with Chris, who's on 12-lap old hard tyres. Granted, they are hard tyres, but will have degraded a lot less than probably at a very nice tipping point where the hards are probably quicker than the softs at this rate. But in he comes to the pits, then does Ratho. Will medium go to the end? I mean, if he can do 12 on softs, can he do 20 as Cider goes very quick? So those fresh softs and a bit lighter fuel really helping him onto the hards. So just wants to have nice fresh hard tyres for the end, so he can really now push on those hards.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he just felt comfortable on the softs and didn't feel like he needed to pit yet. So he's going to have the freshest hards on the track at the moment. He's come out not too far behind Pressing Mixer, so he's going to want to get his head down and try and get himself into some battles. But we've got Max at the front now, who is within the DRS zone, catching Jim as they come into the final sector. Lock up from Max there, which isn't what he's going to want. But this could turn into the battle that we want to see. Kimi's still 5.5 seconds down the road, but he's just going to want these guys to battle as much as possible, and that could claw him back into the race.
Yeah, he's going to be hoping that these two come together, maybe at least. Still P3, going to be a great result if he can keep it, but Max closing, you can see, used up all of his energy recovery system to try and catch. If you don't know, the energy recovery system transfers the kinetic energy, or well, I should say the heat energy from the brakes as they brake, coming down at 200 miles an hour, down towards about 40 in a couple of seconds. Transfers that energy to electrical to power the generator. That gives them an extra probably about 140 brake horsepower down the straights, which really does help. And he's used up quite a lot of it. Jim used a little bit to try and stay out of it, but probably fighting a losing battle there. So just going to keep it there, keep it around the 20% mark. Definitely a good mark to have. But Max well within the DRS now and has a nice foothold as Cider on the back of Chris, who still is yet to pit on the hard tyres. One of a few yet to pit. So Cider hopefully going to make quick work of this and doesn't lose too much tire grip behind, because the dirty air really is prevalent on this newer game. But Max just needs to set up a good exit now. He saved a bit of ERS compared to the man in front of him, but Cider has lagged out of the session or left the session, or something's happened, and he's now going to be plummeting down the order. So maybe this aggressive strategy really isn't going to work out for him, as Max picks himself up a 3-second time penalty running wide coming out of the penultimate corner.
Yeah, that's going to be a relief to Jim's eyes seeing that little sign come up in the top left of his screen, because he now doesn't need to fight as tough as what he would have done to keep himself at the front. We know their times are very similar, so yeah, it's going to be a big relief to Jim seeing that. He's just got to make sure he doesn't suffer the same thing now.
Yeah, well, he's just got to keep it clean and consistent, which is what Jim can usually do. But Max very aggressive, very eager to catch up, and that's where the penalty has cost him. needs to get through and claim at 3 seconds. Still safety Kimi behind as it seems, but this is now go, go, go for Kimi. He wants to now get within the 3 seconds, and maybe not necessarily a race on track, but a race with time to get himself within the 3 second penalty. Callum as well, quick fire to get himself a 3 second penalty. So the 2 penalties now coming in pretty rapid fire motion between the two. Kieran on the back of Sider, who still hasn't managed to get himself back into the lobby.
Yeah, I mean, Max is going to want to still try and get himself past. It's probably going to be more for pride now, unless any kind of incident happens. I can't see either one of these creating a 3 second gap from the other. So the pace and the time is so similar. Max, he's still going to be inside. He's going to be seething from that, and you might see it now with a couple of reckless moves. But he just needs to keep himself calm, because anything can happen in racing. As we've seen a couple of punches lately in some of the races. So look after your tyres, keep your head down, anything can happen, and you could still end up with a win, Max.
Do not give up at all. He's had some amazing pace. Maybe just needs to get in front. Maybe the dirty air's holding him back, and he's a caged lion ready to go out and stretch his legs. But we'll have to wait and see. And again, as you said, Jim can still pick himself up a penalty. He can still bottle it. Anything can happen, as is the unpredictability of motorsport. But that's definitely a kick in the back for Max, who was driving such a great race. He's done the effort to catch up and has now picked himself up a 3 second time penalty. So could be the fight for the race lead ruined. He's still there, and he's definitely going to give us a race nonetheless. That is just Max things. He's really been consistent. All 3 of them haven't put a foot wrong pretty much all race, and just trying to drive their way home. I mean, 36 laps around Zandvoort really isn't an easy task, and Max, Jim and Kimi really being the stars of the field. Here comes Max. He is closing, and he is closing quickly, using the rest of his overtake. Going to dart to the inside, run side by side with the race leader. Bit of contact between the two, but is Max going to claim the corner? Yes, he is, ahead onto the exit, and that is the Haas into the lead of the race. Let's see if he can stretch his legs or even hold it. Will Jim want to fight back?
Yeah, I think Jim might play the smart play here and just sit on the back of him. I mean, you don't know what's going through either of their head. As you say, anyone could pick up a penalty at some other point, but he's got 3 seconds to play with. He's got a 5 second gap behind to Kimi. So I mean, there is still 18. We're only halfway through the race. There's still 18 laps to go. So anything could happen. But Jim's just got to play this smart. He's got 3 seconds to play with. There's no point in doing anything rash.
Definitely doesn't want to make any rash judgments, as you say, in the DRS zone still, but he's going to want that extra security, because if he picks up a 3 second time penalty of his own, he's then on the back foot. He's got the front foot now, but anything can change at any moment. Still a long way to go in this race into the final half, but it is going to end very quickly. This first half has really flown by, and it is still a long way to go in terms of driving and the amount of opportunities you've got, because the main place really is the penultimate corner, and he's got 18 more turn throughs of that, and any one of them could be a penalty. Even if it's 1 in 6, that's still enough to pick himself up a penalty.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm surprised we haven't seen Cyberspace come back into the session. His car's slowly falling back through the field. We've seen Kieran and Short Markers both pass him now. I mean, I was looking to see if there was any battles we had going on track, and there was only a couple of tenths difference between him and some other cars, but his car is still in AI, so it's unfortunate, because he was the only one on the alternative strategy to see where he came out. But yeah, he's going to be gutted with his whatever issue he's having with his internet at home.
Yeah, very. It's the shame with sim racing, very similar to, say, an engine failure in real life. Still continuing, and has the potential to get back in, so he wish. And a late safety car could definitely throw things into the mix. But Jim really falling off the back of Max now. 8 tenths is the gap. Could Max break 3 of that DRS? And that is really going to help him if he can get out the DRS and just push in his own air. That really will help Max, because he's looking very quick at this stage.
Yeah, it looks like Max definitely has got the pace on the hard tyres. Jim has fallen back. He didn't get overtaken easily. It took Max a few laps to get past on these tyres. But yeah, it definitely looks like Max is dealing with the harder tyre better than Jim is.
We just need to see what he can do. I mean, the DRS really is helping Jim. 2 DRS zones, of course, at Zandvoort. 1 from turn 11 towards turn 12. 1 from turn 15 towards turn 1, the back straight, and the pit straight. So that's really helping Jim keep his so hook on the back of Max. Max just needs to hook up this middle sector like he did in qualifying and really give it everything he can. Yellow flash through sector 1. What's happened there? It looks as though Golden Wolf has gone off again into the pit exit. Was that after pitting? No, it doesn't look like it was. 15 lap old mediums though really aren't going to be looking good, and really just going from bad to worse for the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, he's not had a good day of things as it stands at the moment. It looks like he's got himself some wing damage as well, so he's probably going to pop it. He is on 15 lap old medium tyres, so maybe they've just sort of started giving up. Yeah, we'll probably see him come into the pits now and setting on a new set.
Jim now out of the DRS range, giving it everything, using his ERS to try and close back in. Where's the detection point? Here it is. So Max has gotten out of the DRS.
Yeah, that's interesting, that is, because now Max can really get his head down, and we'll see the real pace between the two drivers if he can manage to pull away. Also notice Kimi has slightly closed the gap down between the guys at the front, about half a second. So, I mean, we've got, what, 14 laps to go, 15 laps to go.
Yeah.
He's going to need to have a lot of those laps clawing down that time to give himself in contention. But yeah, Max is going to get his head down and get away from Jim and try and get that 3-second gap that he needs to win the race.
Yeah, but Jim giving it everything, using his ERS, clenching probably more at short straws here, trying to stay with him. It's not quite going to work. Max edging himself out again as Jim is losing that ERS to try and stay with him. It isn't quite working. He's going to have DRS down towards turn 12 as someone, I believe a backmarker was moving nicely out of the way. I believe Callum Jones went very wide to move out of the way and going to lose a couple of positions because of it. Golden Wolf as well has retired. Is that in the pit lane? It is in the pit lane, so no full course yellow. Is Jim close enough though? He needs to use his energy recovery system, his ERS, into the detection point, but it looks as though Max is safe for the time being once again, so just needs to slowly chip his way out. And Kimi falling off a little bit again, so he gained and then lost. Side space back in as well.
Side space fine, he's back in. I mean, his soft tyres are 10 laps old now, so the life that he needed to use has gone. So, I mean, I don't know whether we're going to see him probably come in and put some mediums on. I'd probably come in and put them on this lap, give yourself some fresh tyres, and then just go out and see how many places you can gain back. But yeah, he's going to be gutted as whatever's happened to him.
Yeah, definitely, probably very disheartening to see the error message pop up, but still in P9 and not quite outside the points just yet. But on that alternate strategy, this is really going to hurt him. Max with another 3-second penalty.
So the time he was gaining, he's just been pushing that slight bit too hard.
It seems Max's aggressive style and a bit of a scrum through turn 11 really going to cost him quite a lot here, and Jim's going to be closing up once again as the interval has seemed to not want to show up at all, as they're going to need to cross the timing for it to reset. But Jim now, he's going to be licking his lips. He's got even more security. Even if he gets a penalty himself, he's got another 3 seconds in the bag.
That even puts Max under pressure from Kimi as well, because Kimi's only, 5 and a bit seconds down the road. So as it stands, Kimi and Max are pretty side by side at the moment. As we look to the interval to the leader is 6.0 seconds. So yeah, they're pretty much fighting each other at the moment with the penalties in place.
Yeah, well, Kimi's going to be licking his lips. Maybe a chance at P2 position if he can hold it. 6.0 just needs to chip away at it as it stands. I mean, he's on the older tyres. 2 lap old, that won't make too much of a difference now, but when you get to the likes of lap 35, maybe it might start coming in. But he needs to give it his all, give him that qualifying pace, because he was quicker than Max in qualifying, don't forget. Wasn't too far off pole, finds himself in P3, but Max again in the race has the pace. But Jim just doing what he needs to, driving at home, does not need to make any rash judgments at this stage.
Yeah, he has also clawed some of the time back to Max as well, so he's got himself back inside the DRS. So maybe we'll see him attack, maybe we'll see him just sit behind, because all that can go wrong for Jim now is him making a mistake in trying to get past Max, or Max getting his elbows out too wide and Jim collecting part of Max's car and losing some wing. That would hamper his race. But it looks like he's just going to sit behind. He's not gone for the move here and just bring the car home. Kimi's going to be sitting in third place, praying for a safety car right now. That would bring him right back into it. But as it stands, it looks like this is Jim's race to lose.
Yeah, at the moment, I mean, he's got everything on a plate for him. Max with a penalty, and Kimi 5 and a bit seconds back, so really, really good for him at the moment. But here comes Kieran, then 12-lap-old fresher tyres than Chris, who is still yet to pit off his second set of hards. To the outside, doesn't really know where to go. Going to use his tyre grip to the outside, use the full extent of the track. The Williams tries to defend, but the McLaren soars around the outside, and that is him into the top 4. 4 different teams inside the top 4, and yellow flags through sector 3 as all 3 of them lock up there going towards turn 4. But yeah, as you say, Kimi's going to be hoping for a safety car, and I'm going to guess so is Chris, because at the moment he's very high up the grid, but still needs to pit. Golden Wolf has also left the session. Safety car.
Oh, and that is what Kimi needed. So we're going to see these front runners dive into the pit surely.
Would softs make it? I'd go for mediums maybe for a safer bet, but if we're under the safety car for a couple of laps, it sort of mitigates the tyre wear that you're doing, so it might not be as bad. Would softs be a good gamble maybe for the likes of Chris, who doesn't really have much to lose?
I mean, me personally, I'd chuck some softs on here because, as you say, we're probably going to have 2 laps behind, and we've seen the soft tyres last at least 12 laps on some of the cars. So, yeah, both of the front runners have slapped some softs on, and Kimi's put on some mediums.
Interesting.
So Kimi's going for the long game.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have the better tyres on the likes of probably maybe from lap 33 onwards, I would say. He just needs to stay with the DRS coming through. Is Chris going to pit? Of course he's going to pit. Pretty much everyone's going to file his way in. So Chris has really put himself in a good position, stretching those hards for 23 laps.
Yeah, it's been a great drive so far from Chris. It's the perfect position from where he wanted to do with starting on the hard tyres. As we say, we always know there's going to be safety cars in league racing. It just happens. So he's had a gamble. He's put on some soft tyres. So he's really going to be trying to put himself in a good point scoring position come the end of the race.
Yeah, I mean, he's come out in P5, still 10 points, and on the softs, compared to Kieran, he's on the medium, so Chris's raw pace really going to help him out here. He's really been consistent on those hards, hasn't let it affect him one bit, and he's come out in P5, as pretty much everyone now has managed to come and get themselves into the pit. So it's pretty much a mixed call between softs and mediums, those probably not as confident in their tyre wear, the likes of Kimi and Kieran and Ratho going for the mediums, and everyone else is just going, well, we're going to be under the safety car for a while. These softs are going to last, we might as well chuck them on, and if it doesn't work, then Kimi is in a very, very good position. But this is also really, really hurt Max, because if everyone else can stick behind him for 12 laps, he's going to lose a lot more positions than just 2.
Yeah, he's going to want to get his head down and try and pull away from probably Kieran. His best bet now is to try and get the last step of the podium. I can't see him pulling 6 seconds ahead of Jim or Kimi. I thought we were going to have an issue there with the Red Bull that was in between Kimi and Jim, but the Red Bull's now dived into the pits of Arj, so he's probably going to put on some soft tyres as well.
Yeah, okay, MP13, a minute down, so he's going to be looking to catch up very quickly when it comes to the safety car and getting onto the back of Callum. 13 runners left in the race. Lost quite a few people, but not too many. We've lost Callum Jones, Golden Wolf, KVDPR and Harv, who was the first to retire. 2 VSCs and a safety car, and a very laggy McLaren as Ark leaves the pits. It looks as though Jim Strav may have disconnected from P7. It seems he's just very, very laggy, perhaps. But it looks as though we're going to probably have maybe one more lap, depending on how quickly these guys at the back catch up. Maybe in this lap, if they can catch up quickly, they are obviously catching a lot quicker. It's only a poor little Mercedes road car up in front, so maybe in this lap, but we've still got 3 cars at the back. So my best guess is we're going to get going underway on lap 27 on to 28.
Yeah, and that's ample amount of time for the soft tyres to last. So I think Kimi might be questioning putting on the mediums. He's going to be a little bit quicker at the end of the race, but I think the damage might be done there, and Jim will be too far ahead come the end of the race for it to be clawed back.
We'll just have to wait and see how it goes. Maybe Jim and Max have a bit of a tussle and cause it. Well, safety car actually is going to be in the lap, so we're going to go from 26 to 27. Luckily going to have the DRS as we come on to, I believe, lap 30, so it's actually played very nice. We're going to have 7 or so laps just to straight fight with DRS, and Jim and Max both going to be eager to get off to a good start. Max needs to get his head down. He's going to back the pack up, try and feed Jim to Kimi, and just sort of feed him to the Sharks almost. Kimi just needs to play the long game, use his tyre advantage that it will have towards the end, but you can see Max really backing up. He's got the right to all the way up to the timing line. Everyone eager to go. You can see Jim really getting up to the back of him, holding everyone up. You can see they're all very widespread. He's caught him napping. He's activated DRS, and away we go. Green flag once again, and a great restart from Max then as he holds P1 down towards turn 1, and everyone as well just trying to find their way through. Kieran very deep towards turn 1, and that is short. Marcus getting himself up of the inside of Chris. Bit of contact between the two as they head towards turn 3. On the outside is the Williams, going to go over the curb, dive it back up the inside. Both of them having a lock up. Great bit of racing between Marcus and Chris, but it looks as though Mercedes is just going to come out on top on this time, and the Red Bull getting himself past into P10. Very nicely done from Preston Mixer, but does have a penalty. But a perfect restart for Max. He hasn't got the DRS threat from behind for another 3 laps. This is now crunch time for him. He needs to get his head down.
Yeah, that was a good restart from Max there. He did. He built the gap up nicely, he backed everybody up, and then floored it. Just as Jim wasn't paying that slight bit of attention he needed to keep on his back. So Max has done what he needs to do on that restart, as we see him lock up there coming into the chicane towards the end of the lap. But Kimi's still within 1 second, but you can see the soft tyres do have better grip than his mediums, and he's just going to need to stay within that 1 second zone so he can try and tag along with the DRS until the crossover in his tyres are quicker.
Yeah, hopefully so. Max quickest, 1:11.1, the fastest lap. So these softs really help. And lighter fuel, of course, they're going to be probably around about 90 kilos lighter than they were at the start of the race. But this is similar to the first stint where Jim was incredibly quick on these soft tyres. So maybe this is rubbing in at home a bit. But Max has really gotten this stunt off to a good start. Really found the groove. Really found the confidence in his car now to push. And Kimi, as you said, just needs to try and get himself back within the 1 second and wait until the crossover point. Doesn't want to be too far off as he starts. But Kieran doing very well to have held P4. Still got a penalty, and Short Marcus and Chris, granted, are catching, but he's doing very good to hang inside that top 4 for the time being. His teammate is also tagging on to the back of this train that's trying to catch him up, and Chris going a little bit backwards but still in a great position.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a nice little train that's formed there from 4th back to 11th at the moment. All the cars sort of just within or around 1 second of each other, so we're going to see some people eager to make some moves on the fresh tyres. Everyone's going to be very confident in the tyres, especially coming off of the hards and putting the grippy soft tyres on. You're going to see people sending it up the inside. Side of space is probably our closest at the moment. He's really close to the back of Pistol, as Max goes even faster, 1:10.6 that lap from Max. So he's trying to get as much gap as he can at the moment. Are we going to see Slider make a move? No, that's good defending again from Pistol, as per. Back to seeing Pistol do what he does best.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely very experienced in the F2 race on Monday, and last week on Friday did some very good defending. But Jim on the cusp of being knocked out of the DRS range from Max, who has put in some incredible laps recently. Jim only managing to do a 1:10.8, so not quite on the pace of Max, but just hanging into the DRS zone. 1 second now as they come towards the detection point. Is it going to be DRS? We'll have to have a little look. He's just managed to keep the tow hook then, and Max is going to be gutted that he hasn't been able to break through that one.
Yeah, we've got another battle we've got forming down the back of the grid. We've got Callum, who's coming right up to the back of Preston Mixer now. We've got 3 tenths as the gap there. He's got the DRS wide open. It looks like Preston Mixer just got the DRS off of the car in front of him, but Callum's going to be eager to try and get himself past this Red Bull and get his Williams car up into the points.
Yeah, he's going to want to. I mean, does deserve it. He's drove pretty well, pretty consistently, and did start on the alternate strategy. I do believe, or was that Callum? I believe it was Callum actually starting P9, but he's got the run now down towards turn 1. Doesn't quite go to the inside as the Red Bull parks it in the middle of the track very nicely. Going to try and sweep around the outside. Bit of a lock up as they run side by side. This is for the final point spin position. Still going to be side by side on the run into turn 3, but Callum just going to decide. Bit of a swerve though. Unluckily got himself caught up on the curb a little bit there. Side of space on the back of Pistol, as well as Jim Strav on the back of Chris, so it was really hitting up in the midfield.
Yeah, some good driving from both the Williams and the Red Bull drivers there. Both showing each other some respect. It was hard but fair racing. It's what we like to see. And he's going to try again in the next DRS zone. He's kept it right on the gearbox at the moment as Callum, and he's what have we got? We've got a 1.4 second gap in front, so Pressing Mixer's not going to have the DRS. Callum's going to have that advantage along this straight here. I think he might just be a little bit too far back to make the move on this bit, but he's going to be looking to try and make that move on the start-finish line next time around.
Yeah, only a couple more corners. Didn't use his energy recovery system down this straight between turn 11 and turn 12, so definitely going to be looking to make the move down towards here. The Red Bull not with the best exit off the penultimate corner, very much is Callum closing. DRS wide open and straight to the right hand side goes the Red Bull. He's going to follow him in the slipstream. Pull to the left hand side is the Williams. He's gone on ahead before the corner is the Red Bull, going to send it up the inside. Bit of contact between the two. He's driven wide. The Red Bull very desperate to hold on to this one, but that has Callum now up in to the top 10, and Pistol on the back. There's contact between Chris and Pistol's going to ghost his way up into the top 7. Jim Strav and Chris just making a little bit of contact. He's going to fall behind Cyberspace as well, so Pistol now on the offensive, going to look to try and get past Jim Strav. A compromised McLaren who is a little bit laggy granted, but Pistol really making some good moves now, in a good position in P7 as well.
Yeah, we've actually got some battling forming at the moment, which is nice to see. It looks like we've had a McLaren go off. Was that Jim Strav?
It looks as though Jim Strav has gone off. He might rubber
It looks
band
like he
back
just went straight on at the corner.
It definitely did look strange. He's rubber banded back onto the track, so it is just looking as though he's lagging on this stage.
Yeah, I was going to say that would have been a lovely bit of a move for Peter there, but yeah, he's back on the track and Peter's back behind him, so either it's a lag from us or a lag from Jim Strav there, but Pistol's back on the back of him. He's going to try and make the move down the start-finish line. Just
needs to be careful he doesn't guess wrong as to where he is. Jim Strav was pretty laggy throughout the race, and that's probably why we saw him off a little bit earlier on. But Kieran down to P5, still a great position, just needs to try and stretch the legs to his teammate behind, just needs to get in that little bit extra time. But Kimi really kept the leaders honest. He's not too far back, so once they get to that crossover point, he may be up there with them. Just needs to try and push as hard as he can. Got a lot of ERS in the bank compared to Max and Jim, who are a little bit spread, but Jim in prime position in the hot seat to take the race win, his first race win on debut as well. But Kimi now closing, he's starting to push, he's using his ERS, he's got a lot saved up, he's got 50% saved up, and that is a lot more than the front two, so he could not be written off just yet. He's still there, 1.2 off Jim. It's more of a fight for them two. Yellow Flash who set the 2, there is that pressing mixer off.
Yeah, it looks like it is Pressing Mixer, so I don't know whether he's had some contact with Callum when he's tried to get back past, but yeah, he's found himself drop a few more positions back, so there's going to be no points for Pressing Mixer today now. He's dropped himself too far back. Callum's on the back of his teammate Chris. It looks like he's going to try and make another move down the start-finish line, which has been quite successful for him so far, and he's made some nice moves. So is he going to duck to the inside? He's gone for the outside. He likes the outside line to try and get the inside line through the next corner, but
nice,
it's late on the brakes from Chris Summer, and he's gone underneath. It's a lovely move there from Callum. It looks like he's almost set his teammate up for that as he gets himself up to 9th position.
Very nice racecraft from Callum. We've seen him do it twice now. Pressing Mixer picks himself up a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, something we saw quite a lot of, I believe, at Bahrain for the Formula 2 race. A lot of people speeding in the pit lane on Monday, but Callum, very nice to set up that move. Sent his teammate in deep. He was like, I'm going to go around the outside. No, I'm not. You've sent yourself in deep. I'm going to go underneath you. Very nice from the Williams, and something you don't often see between teammates, but Callum doesn't care. He's now doubled his point score, and Jim really closing up to Max there. Has that been a mistake from the race leader? Now coming towards lap 34 or 36. We're running out of time now, and Kimi is closing, but he's not closing enough. Just needs to latch into the DRS and really push in these final stages, and he could find himself in prime position to take the win. It looks as though Max is also safe from getting off the podium, but with Max maybe trying to back Jim into Kimi so he can have some clear air, maybe try and stretch the gap, because if Kimi and Jim start battling thinking they're safe, this could allow Max to stretch the gap. Is that possible? Is that what he's thinking?
I mean, with the championship standings at the moment, and this being Jim's first race, you'd probably want Jim to stay ahead of Kimi with how Max and Kimi are in the point standings at the moment. You wouldn't want Kimi to outscore Jim, so I don't think Max, he might be, but I don't think he'll do that if he's thinking about the bigger picture. He knows he's not going to get the win here. He's going to get the podium position, as you say. He's safe from short markers now. They're a good 8-9 seconds up the road at the moment. But yeah, he's going to want Jim to stay ahead of Kimi for the championship standings for sure.
Definitely a very good point. Jim, of course, missing out on a couple of rounds. Still isn't out of it, but in a good position to take the win. And Max just thinking, well, yeah, if I can't finish first, well, I'd rather my rival not do win the race while I can't. But he's doing a great job up in front. It's a shame he has got the penalties. Kimi on the cusp of DRS as we come on to the penultimate lap, that 35 of 36. He's running out of time, but these medium tyres really now coming into their own. Sort of the crossover point now where they are pretty equal on pace. As Side of Space picks himself up a 3-second time penalty in his battle in the midfield. It's been a very, very tight midfield as we usually see. Very close at the front, a big gap to the midfield, but even then they are very close themselves.
Yeah, it's tight in there. It's like we've got two separate races going on at the moment. Obviously, we've got the front three at the moment. We saw that in qualifying. I'm a bit disappointed that Harv's got some pace. We could have seen him maybe creep into this top three battle, but he's obviously had his incident today, so he's got a DNF. But yeah, we've got a couple of different sort of groups racing at the moment. The front three, and then there looks like there's a battle between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 7 cars for fourth position. They're all fairly close to each other, so it's never too late for someone to make a mistake and someone to get a move made on someone else. So all of those guys are going to want to keep their head down and try and gain as many positions in these last couple of laps.
Exactly that. Now rounding the banking for the penultimate time, Max from Jim from Kimi, who's got a lot of ERS in the bank, coming onto the final lap. He's now within the DRS. Max defends to the inside for turn 1. Jim looking eager to get there. This is now Kimi on the back. He's going to be wanting to get himself past Jim for the race lead. Here they go then, pretty much bumper to bumper to bumper. RR3 race leaders. Kimi needing to get past Jim for the race lead. Jim just needs to stick with Max, who's got a 6-second penalty, and really being a headache for Jim, who's now got Kimi all over his gearbox as they go up the hill for the final time towards turn 7. The very flick right, and he's pushing the Renault through, and he's really eager to get through. He's got one more DRS zone and one more heavy braking zone before the end of the lap. This is going to get very spicy. This all been boiling down to this. They've been pretty widespread, but Kimi with an incredible drive. Big slide, no, and that's the Ferrari off, and he's retired. Very much just pushing that little bit too hard. Shame for Kimi, and that is going to see Marcus inherit the podium place.
Wow, I can't believe what's just happened to Kimi. He's going to be absolutely gutted. The last lap, he's gone from 18 points to 0, and that is not what he's going to need for the championship. You've got to feel for him. He knew he had the faster tyre, but he's just pushed just too hard, and he's ended up in the wall.
Yeah, but here comes Max across the line. Will win on track, but Jim is going to take the win on debut here in Zandvoort. A great race between these two. We've seen it all race. Here will be Marcus. He's going to be really chuffed, reeving across the line to take P3 ahead of Kieran. He's going to come home P4. Will he be jumped by his teammate? Yes, he will. Will Pistol jump up a place? No, he's going to stay P6. And Side of Space is going to drop down because of his penalty. And Callum driven himself to a very nice P7, up 2 positions from where he qualified. 5 retirements, including Kimi on the final lap. Very big shame for him. He knew he was quick. It was pretty much all or nothing. He was like, well, I'm going to win this race, or I'm going to DNF, and just got that little bit too eager coming off of turn 10, it seems.
Very Lewis Hamilton of him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good race there from Jim Strav, up 12 positions. Obviously didn't qualify, managed to get himself into 4th position. Obviously pushed himself up that position with Kimi on the last lap retiring. So yeah, notable drive from him, and as you say, Callum drove very well as well. He had was on the alternative strategy, dropped back a little bit, but then got his head down, made a nice few moves. So yeah, as you see there, driver of the J Jim Strav, that's unquestionable. But Lil Jim, 1 race, 1 win on the Friday night.
1 pole position as well. Couldn't quite make it the Grand Slam because he didn't take the fastest lap, unfortunately, but I'm not too sure if he's going to be very bothered like that. A Renault, a Haas and a Mercedes all on the podium, going to be lifting the winner's trophy here in Zandvoort. But a great debut, it seems, on a Friday for Lil Jim. He takes the win from pole position, but that wasn't the entire story. Very much under pressure, and Max put up a valiant effort in P2. Took the win on track, but because of penalties fell behind. Takes the fastest lap though, and an extra point, so we're going to be taking home 19 points. Marcus going to round off the top 3 after an incident from Kimi. Jim Strav in P4, great drive from P16, and his McLaren teammate in P5. Great night from the McLaren boys, with the other Haas of Pistol in P6. Callum P7, Chris P8, Ratho in P9. Cider rounding off the top 10. The alternate strategy nearly worked for him. A late safety car really brought him back into the mix. Pressing Mixer in P11. Kimi retiring from the race. Arg also retiring from the race, but both still classified because of the rule of the countback rule. But Callum, Golden, KVDPR and Harv will not be classified because of DNF. But we were not robbed of a good race there at all. Despite it being Zandvoort and not being the best for overtaking, we still saw some very, very nice spectacles and a race won on strategy, it seems.
Yeah, again, gutted for Kimi. After the three of the guys at the front, it could have been a lot. It could have been a lot better for him getting that second position. He may even have got first. You never know. He had that the DRS zone and one late braking zone where he'd have had the advantage on tyres, but we'll never know. And yeah, it's been an entertaining race as it could be for Zandvoort.
Yeah, we're not robbed of a good qualifying session. We're not robbed of a good race at all. That is going to be it for the coverage of tonight's race. It's been myself and Mitch as per usual. A very good job from Mitch as usual once again. But I've been Zach. This has been Mitch, and this has been a very, very good Dutch Grand Prix for the OBF1 Tier 1 boys. We'll see you next time, everyone, and I hope you have enjoyed. Goodbye.